Manchester United and Wolves met for the fourth time this season at Old Trafford in the late game on Saturday this weekend in the Premier League. 0-0, so third out of 4 draws between them in all competitions, and this is where it leaves them, completely landlocked together on 35 points, a full 6 points still behind the top 4. Bruno Fernandes, though, made his debut. How did he do?
Well, did all right, I guess. Listen, it was a little bit of a surprise to see him included from the start, given how recently he made the switch. But with Nemanja Matic suspended, thanks to that red card against City, albeit in the cup, Solskjaer's faced with a decision and decided to throw him into the deep end. And listen, it wasn't a debut that anybody's going to be writing home about, but he looked steady, didn't make any major errors. Just kind of middle of the road, I guess. Couple of efforts from a long way out. One that Patricio somehow made an absolute mess of. It went out for a corner. But other than that, as I say, you know, I'm not setting fireworks off, but I'm not overly concerned either.
How will Manchester United feel about the defensive end, keeping a clean sheet against a side that we know can cause a threat on the break, although they know them very well?
Yeah, listen, if you're United, you're very happy with the way the 90 minutes went, outside of the fact that you weren't able to find the back of the net. And I think the table told a story that played out over 90 minutes. There's not a lot to give between these two teams. I think this game was split right down the middle. Wolves were the better of the two teams in the first half. Manchester United a long way better in the second. Wolves couldn't make their own domination turn to goals, and similarly, Manchester United found themselves a little bit frustrated. Once Traoré kind of went down with that injury where he was holding his shoulder, he wasn't as impactful, and then picked up a knock on his ankle and had to be substituted. Wolves lost a lot of their punch there. And then I thought Manchester United finished really strongly, as good as we've seen from them, and maybe given that last 15 minutes would feel a little bit disappointed that they weren't able to walk out of Old Trafford with 3 points. But again, if you take this game for 90 minutes, I think a draw at the least is a fair result. Whether it's a score-less draw is maybe a little bit more than either was expecting.
There's not much between any of these sides pushing to try and get either fifth or... I don't know if either of these really still feel they can claim a top 4 place, with obviously Leicester and Chelsea dropping points against each other today.
And that's a challenge. We've been sitting here and talking about for quite some time how nobody seems to want to finish 4th. Just as Leicester seem to find some inconsistency, you've seen that from Chelsea over recent weeks. And listen, this was always going to be a tough weekend, with Leicester playing Chelsea, with Wolves and Manchester United, and Spurs playing Manchester City in terms of the shake-up. It was an opportunity for somebody to make a big move. Maybe that mover will be Tottenham, but given who the opposition is, you're happy that as much as you've taken a point, you've not lost ground on the top 4.
Yep, so Manchester United failing to score once again in the Premier League, coming off those defeats to Liverpool and Burnley. Things going differently, of course, for them in the Cup. Wolves also involved in Cup competition, of course, looking ahead to the Europa League later this month. But at the moment, it's another stalemate between them in the Premier League, which leaves everyone guessing as to how he is going to impact Manchester United going forward.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.